Farid has lost all authority despite the fact that he has Gundam Bale. Tekkadan has been transformed into villains by Gallarhorn's propaganda. Tekkadan is out of money, out of mobile suits, and even running out of soldiers. And Gallarhorn is quite literally knocking at Mars's door as they prepare to invade and take down Tekkadan. However, even with all of this, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There still might be a hope for Tekkadan as long as they can make it to Earth. And if that weren't enough, it appears that Mikazuki, Atra, and Kudelia Ina Bernstein are gonna have a baby. Where do I even begin with this episode? I mean, immediately from the beginning, it seemed as if Tekkadan was completely screwed, especially with the concept that McGillis Farid no longer really has any control over his forces, despite the fact that he has this incredibly powerful mobile suit, which we still haven't really even seen the full extent of. In fact, McGillis was mostly absent from this episode, and I'm really curious to what he's been doing behind the scenes. I'm still waiting for that moment where he's going to sort of basically turn Tekkadan into his very own personal human shield, but we'll have to wait and see that come to fruition. It is interesting, though, that Tekkadan has actually thought about turning over McGillis to Elion Rustal just so that they can get out of this sticky situation. The thing is, Elion wants all of Tekkadan gone. He figures that they're all equal and they're all worth taking down all at once just to make Gallarhorn look a lot better and take control over space. He's one shrewd son of a bitch. And to make matters worse, despite the fact that Tekkadan has arrived back at home on Mars, they have no money, no fundage, no one trusts them anymore. That is until the end of the episode when Miss Marybit and Dexter find some sort of weird loophole that they created where they put away some money for Tekkadan, even though it's only just a fifth of it, and that should be able to give them the opportunity to actually fight back. The problem is they don't have any time to breathe as Gallarhorn arrives at the very end of the episode, getting ready to just completely destroy everyone. All of this stuff is well and good. Everybody's willing to go along with Orga. They're even willing to get rid of the Tekkadan name as long as it means they're all going to be together, still being led by Orga. But the best thing about this episode for me had to be the scenes between Mikazuki, Kudelia, and Atra. As Kudelia said herself in this episode, everything between these characters is incredibly awkward, but it also happens to be incredibly cute. They also just sort of subtly drop the fact that Mikazuki and Atra have already tried making a baby, and hopefully their attempt will be successful. I'm guessing this all took place in the Barbados' cockpit, so that thing has got to wreak something terrible. That's right, I went there. But lo, things manage to get even more awkward when Kudelia Ina Bernstein arrives, and Atra even proposes the idea of Mikazuki having a child with her, but I still think she's sort of like the mother of the group. She's basically there just to reassure Mikazuki that she'll always have a place in his life, as well as taking care of his child, which of course this is all just a big massive death flag for Mikazuki as well, for him actually dying at the end of this series, and both Atra and Kudelia taking care of the child. Honestly, I would like to see Mikazuki get out of this, because all of the signs are pointing towards him and all of Tekkadan dying, and honestly, this just makes me want to see them live even more. I want them to be successful, maybe even get away from this incredibly harsh life. And we get to spend a lot of moments with the different members of Tekkadan in this episode, and some of them actually get backstory finally, like the character of Dane, who is the giant, strong, silent type. Apparently, he's kind of a murderer. He's killed people back in the day, and that's why he doesn't really have anywhere that he can go or even have any sort of semblance of a normal life. He has to go to Tekkadan. It's really his last opportunity at living anything resembling like a normal life for someone. Zack, on the other hand, says, screw this, I don't want anything to do with this crazy organization anymore. He still has connections with his family, so he'll still be able to get a somewhat decent job, but yet at the same time he's beating himself up, almost sort of feeling like he's weak, maybe as if he's giving up on his friends, a lot of which are much younger than him, that are still deciding to stay behind and fight. It's interesting. I can't wait to see if he's actually going to leave or if he's actually going to stay. I also really like the fact that they address that Cookie and Cracker are now looked down upon by the students at their school because now Tekkadan is seen as villains. It's good to remind us that these characters actually exist, and it continues to make me feel sad for the death of Biscuit. What more can I say? The last couple episodes of Iron-Blooded Orphans are certainly going to be an emotional roller coaster. They're going to be filled to the brim with lots of action. It looks like Eok is finally going to be getting back into the battle, and I'm waiting for that moment where he is completely destroyed. I frankly can't wait to see the finale of the series. I honestly can't predict it, and I honestly think that's a great thing. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Iron-Blooded Orphans? So much shit going on! This episode right here was a perfect demonstration that Iron-Blooded Orphans relies mostly on its characters, more so than the mobile suit action. That's not to say that the action is bad. In fact, it's freaking awesome, and it's always appreciated when it happens. But I really do like these episodes where we get to focus on the characters, because you actually care about them. That's something that I think is really important in a war story, especially with what's going on here, and it's made even more just emotional because of the fact that a lot of these people are young. They have nowhere to go. They have these really scarred backgrounds that you really want to sympathize with, and you want to see them get out of this situation. Although the way things are looking, I just don't see a lot of these main characters making it out of this situation alive, like Akihiro and Eugene. You know, after the death of Shino, pretty much anyone can die at this point. And now I fear even more for the life of Atra, considering that she might be carrying the child of Mikazuki. The scene with her and Kudelia and Mikazuki really, I think, was the best thing about this episode right here. It's pretty clear they took a lot of inspiration from Naze and his harem in this episode, although this one just comes across as a little more sweeter, if you know what I mean, especially with Kudelia being there, sort of being like the older, more mature version and sort of holding everyone together like the cute glue that she is. It's a really touching scene, and again, it makes me care about these characters. I especially love seeing the big difference in Mikazuki, who is becoming just a little less psychotic as the series is going on. A scene at the beginning of the episode mentioning that a flower is cute, or even learning how to farm. It's all really great, but it's also sort of putting up a big death flag, which, you know, of course, can happen for the main character of a Gundam series. It doesn't happen too often, but then again, this is a series that has gone into some extreme dark territory and made it clear that anyone can die. Honestly, I'm just rambling at this point. This is just a fantastic episode of Iron-Blooded Orphans. The finale of the series is going to blow people's minds, I think, and I can't wait to see how they're going to end it. It's completely unpredictable. I'm still unsure of what McGillis is actually going to do. It looks like he's going to have an important role in the next episode. It might be like his final duel with Gaileo. He might not even make it to the finale. It might just all end with Tekkadan, which I honestly think is the best way to end it. I also love that it's ending on Mars, because 99% of the time in Gundam anime, they usually start in space, then they go to Earth, then they come back to space for the finale. This one looks like it's actually going to end on the surface of Mars, which I think is going to be great. It's a perfect backdrop, and of course it's very symbolic as that's where the series started, and of course that's what they've been trying to do this entire time, which is make Mars really well known, become the king of Mars, and save all of the orphans. Guys, I can't wait for the finale. It's going to be great. The next couple of episodes are going to be fantastic, and I can't wait to experience them with you guys. As for this episode right here, I loved it a lot. It had some great story moments. It made me realize why I love these characters so much and how I fear for their lives in the next couple of episodes. And it had some great production value behind it, some great music cues, some great still shots of the Gundam, which looked incredibly badass. Just a great episode overall. So I'm going to give this one right here a solid 5 out of 5. An episode made for fans of the series. So make sure to check it out. If any of you guys did watch the episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. Who do you think is going to live? Who do you think is going to die? What are your predictions for the finale of Iron-Blooded Orphans? Please tell me in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things Gundam and anime related. Please leave me a comment or two, as I'd love to chat with you guys about this week's episode. And of course, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I will see you guys next time. And as always, stay damn, baby.